All right, now let's talk about multiplying and dividing polynomials. So with multiplying, we either want to distribute all the terms to each other or use the box method. So let's talk about distributing first, because I think a lot of us seem to like that method more. So let's say we have 3x to the 3 plus 4x squared plus 2x plus 1 times x squared minus 1. Okay, so if we are doing just the distributing method, then that means we have to distribute everything to everything, right? So we have to distribute that x squared to all those other terms and distribute that -1 to all those other terms, right? So x squared times 3x to the 3, or 3x to the, 3x to the 3 times x squared. Remember, we do our numbers together, and then we add our exponents, right? So 3 times -1, or I'm sorry, that's the times. 3 times 1 is just a 3. X to the 3 times x squared, that's becoming an x to the 5, because 3 plus 2 will give us 5. So then we do 4x squared times x squared. 4 times 1, that just stays 4. X squared times x squared, that's going to give us x to the 4. And then we have 2x times x squared. 2 stays the same. X to the 3, because remember, if there's no exponent, it's an invisible 1. So 1 plus 2 will give us a 3. And then 1 times x squared, which is just x squared, right? Then we have the -1 to distribute, so 3x to the 3 times -1 is going to give us a -3x to the 3. 4x squared times -1 is going to give us a -4x squared. Really, anytime you're multiplying by -1, all your signs just change. So 2x becomes -2x, and 1 times -1 is going to become a -1. So now we have to combine our like terms, right? So let's see, I see an x to the 3 here and an x to the 3 here. So 2 minus 3, that's going to become a -x to the 3, right? What other like terms do we have here? We have a -4x squared here, a positive x squared here. So at 1 minus 4, that's going to give us a -3x squared. And it looks like those are all of our like terms. So now we're going to use all the terms that are left, right? We combine these ones, so these ones are gone. And we have all these, right? So now we have to write that out in standard form. So remember, our biggest exponent comes first, which is going to be that 3x to the 5, followed by the plus 4x to the 4. We use plus because it's a positive 4. Then minus x to the 3, right? And then minus 3x squared minus 2x minus 1, right? Remember, exponents go biggest to smallest. So this would be our answer. Now, let's talk about how we do that using the box method. So we'll use the same question, and I'm going to erase, so pause it if you need to. Okay, so that is the distributing method, right? Everything goes to everything, and then you want to combine your like terms. So now let's talk about the box method. So with the box method, you have to make a little table, right? Remember, you need one little box for each of your terms. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 terms, so, and then 1, 2 terms here. So remember, this one won't be anything. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then for this one, and then 1, 2 over here. But I'm gonna remake this table a little bit because it's a little squished. So let me do that one more time. Oh, let's make that a little bit straighter. Okay, there we go. So now I can put my polynomials in here, right? So I have, remember again, this one's going to be blank. 3x to the 3 plus 4x squared plus 2x plus 1 And then over here we have x squared and then minus 1. So then in the boxes we multiply and put our answer, right? So 3x to the 3 times x squared is going to be 3. Ooh, let me use a different color. Let me use orange. Pink. 3x to the 5. Because 3 plus 2 will give us x to the 5. 3x to the 3 times negative 1 gives us negative 3x to the 3. 4x squared times x squared gives us 4x to the 4. 4x squared times negative 1 gives us negative 4x squared. 2x times x squared, again, gives us 2x to the 3. 2x times negative 1 is going to give us a negative 2x. 1 times x squared is just x squared, and 1 times negative 1 is negative 1, right? So we multiply each of these intersections, right? These connect here, so we multiply that. These connect here, so we multiply that, right? That's how we're getting these numbers in the boxes. And then again, we combine our like terms and put it into standard form. So let's see. I have an x to the 3 here, an x to the 3 here, and I have an x squared here and an x squared here. So what I would do here, personally, and you can like write out all your terms and then combine them, but from here I kind of like do it in like mental math, right? So I like circle my like terms, and I'm going to do that in my head and then just write out my answer in standard form, right? Because I know my 3x to the 5 is going to come first, plus 4x to the 4, then with my x to the 3's, we're going to have 2x to the 3 minus 3x to the 3, 2 minus 3 is negative 1, so negative 1x to the 3, or just negative x to the 3. X squared minus 4x squared is going to give us a negative 3x squared, and then minus 2x minus 1, and that is my answer. So that is how you multiply polynomials using the box method here, and then the just direct distribution with the other way. So that is multiplying, and now let's talk dividing. So dividing, there are two ways to do it, but in this video I'm only gonna include the one way. If you want to see, I'm only going to include synthetic division. If you want to see the long division way, then go on YouTube to see how that's done. It takes a lot more time than synthetic division, so I always recommend synthetic. So let's say we have something like 2x to the 4 plus x to the 3 minus 3x squared plus 2x minus 4, and then divided by x minus 2, right? So how we set this up, remember we use that little box, okay? So over here we put the opposite of whatever this number is, right? So remember, a negative means positive, but a positive means negative, right? So this says minus 2, so that's going to become a positive 2. And then inside the box here, we are going to put all these coefficients, all of our numbers here. So we have a 2, and then in front of this x to the 3, we have a 1, and then a negative 3. Remember, your signs matter. Because it says minus 3x squared, we use a negative 3. Then a positive 2, and then a negative 4. Okay, so remember, the first number comes down, the 2 stays the same. Then we multiply that outside number by that bottom number, right? 2 times 2 is going to give us a 4. And then we're going to add that 4 to the next row, but we subtract if it's negative. So 1 plus 4 is going to give us a 5. 2 times 5 is going to give us a 10. Negative 3 plus 10, or 10 minus 3, is going to give us a 7. 7 times 2 is going to give us a 14. 2 plus 14 will give us a 16. 2 times 16 will give us a 32. Negative 4 plus 32, or 32 minus 4 will give us a 28. So remember, with synthetic division, we use all these numbers here. But our next step is to figure out what x's go where, right? So remember, to figure out what exponent we start with, we look at our original, right? So we start with x to the 4. It's always going to be 1 less, right? So that means we're going to start, our answer is going to start with x to the 3, right? So that x to the 3 is going to go with that 2. Then after x to the 3 is x squared, and then x, and then our constant, and then our remainder, right? Remember that last number is always the remainder. So now let's put it all together. So the 2 goes with the x to the 3, so 2x to the 3 plus 5x squared plus 7x plus 16, and then our remainder, remember we write the remainder number over the whole thing we tried to divide by, which is x minus 2. So if it's a positive number, we will write a plus and 28, but remember if the remainder is negative, we write a minus in there instead if the remainder is negative. So 28 over x minus 2, because that is what we tried to divide by, the whole thing. So this would be our answer, okay? So remember, first number comes down, we multiply the outside number by the bottom number, and then add that to the next row, and then repeat, right? So 1 plus 4 gives us 5, 2 times 5 gives us 10, add to the next row. Negative 3 plus 10, or 10 minus 3 gives us 7, 2 times 7 gives us 14, add to the next row. And remember that the number that goes out here is just the opposite of whatever this number is here. If it says x minus 2, then it's going to be a positive 2. If it says x plus 2, then it's going to be a negative 2, okay? So be careful with that.